way the world works has changed, probably forever. Social restrictions have transformed the knowledge worker's home into their office. And according to a recent Gartner study, 82% of respondents intend to permit remote work some of the time when employees return to the workplace. Business leaders are using the all-in-one meeting platform and collaborative interactive whiteboard features of Microsoft Surface Hub 2S to maintain business continuity and, importantly, connect to remote colleagues in a meaningful, productive and secure way. Colleagues feel like they have a front row seat in your office during online meetings thanks to clear video feed from the 4K camera and crisp audio from far-field mics. Content shared during the Microsoft Teams meeting can be brought to life with live interactions and annotation, creating a dynamic event with memorable and meaningful outcomes. As businesses plan to reopen, most business leaders have experienced the inequality of remote meeting participation firsthand. They are now developing strategies to foster collaboration and inclusion of remote participants together with technology that integrates seamlessly into their digital workflow. Real world, real interaction. Surface Hub 2S bridges the digital and physical divide in today's hybrid workplaces, further enhanced by the global availability of Microsoft Surface Hub 2S 85-inch in 2021.
Hi everyone, welcome to the second session for our Hub in a Hybrid World webinar series. My name is Melissa Lee Young and I am the Partner Channel Marketing Manager here in Australia. In the first of our series, we looked at how education can benefit from Microsoft Surface Hub 2S, its unique feature set, which lights up the collaborative experience of teams, being a major opportunity in aiding all types of education. And if you missed it, this is available on demand and we'll share the link with you in a follow-up email. So at Microsoft, we continue to look to see how we can support our partners with the right information, collateral to enable you to engage with your customers. Focusing on Hub and in today's call, specifically highlighting Surface Hub 2S in manufacturing environments, together with first-hand knowledge from CollabTech's unique perspective, we're going to be sharing stories from successful deployments from all around the world. In addition to this session, there's more information to help you build opportunity in our recently published Surface Hub ebook and supporting infographic, both of which we'll share after these webinars. So we're going to take you today into the world of supply chain and manufacturing. In fact, this sector alone employs over 20% of the world's workforce. So for today's call, please post any questions you've got in the live chat box. We've got staff online to answer any questions that you've got. And I'm going to pass over to Andrew and the team from CollabTech. CollabTech are one of Microsoft's expert training providers on modern solutions with Surface and Microsoft 365. And they're here today to tell us about manufacturing in today's hybrid world. So over to you, Andrew.
Great, thank you very much, Mel, and thanks for the warm welcome. It's great to be back presenting to partners again. We really do enjoy doing these events. Today we've got partners from all around the region, so it's great to have you come aboard and welcome everyone. My name's Andrew Fletcher. I'm the SVP International for CollabTech, and today we have today we're going to cover a content for Hub in a Hybrid World, specifically for manufacturing sector. Today's webinar, we're going to provide a range of insights into trends, ways to incorporate digital collaboration technology into the manufacturing process, and how to reimagine manufacturing with new ways to collaborate effectively. Manufacturing is a significant employer representing 14% of the APAC workforce, and there are typically three components required of this workforce. Firstly, being able to meet customer demands. Manufacturers must align their supply chains and production resources. This ensures they can deliver when it counts. Secondly, the ability to bring new products to market, in particular connecting research and development efforts with engineering teams across organisations. And thirdly, keeping everything together and running across multiple locations, such as maintenance, repairs and operations personnel who must work together and expand their reach of their institutional knowledge. At present, the workforce is experiencing a 15% year-on-year increase in the volume of data available to increase production, efficiency and quality. Often this increase in data is being driven by local focus on IoT and the impact of 5G, all being seen at a macro level enabled by cloud applications. With high levels of human involvement required in manufacturing still and the increased availability of data, this has increased the need for greater collaboration. In a recent McKinsey report on digital collaboration, it was estimated $100 billion worth of value could be unlocked by boosting productivity. With manufacturing being very reliant on the physical presence of workers, the global pandemic has presented challenges to optimize ways to safely manufacture while still getting the products into consumers' hands. Areas for improvement highlighted several areas that could benefit from digital collaboration, including increasing intensive workplace analytics, providing immediate data results, root cause investigation, and management of suppliers. There were 4 trends in particular that were identified in the McKinsey report underpinning this shift to digital collaboration. Firstly, the global workforce is becoming less experienced overall due to retirements of more experienced baby boomers and then being replaced by a younger and less costly workforce. Using a combination of advanced information sources and delivering insights to the shop floor quickly is helping bridge this gap. Delivering information in real time is becoming imperative. Secondly, the global workforce is becoming less experienced overall. The second trend of regionalization through offshoring has been fairly consistent for decades, but the past 12 months has seen its challenges. As traditional reliable delivery of products has been impacted, supply chains have experienced shortages of components, raw material availability, and logistical delays. Many manufacturing customers have had to consider changes as to where their supply chains are being impacted to meet customer demand. To adapt, organisations in countries around the world are weighing up alternatives of manufacturing production to reconsider what is essential to their DNA. Separation between design, engineering and production teams has increased the need for collaborative ways of working between regions, countries, locations and teams to quickly take in data and make informed decisions. The third theme of proliferation of data on the shop floor is becoming the bridge between these disparate parts of the business, enabling real-time decision-making based on accurate information as seen across all aspects of the manufacturing process. COVID has obviously accentuated all these themes by overlaying a far greater spotlight on health and safety by considering physical interactions which impact team collaboration. The impact on work practices has been fundamental. Companies have been using data to create a global view of the local level to enable high quality, agile decision making. And COVID has created far more fragility in the supply chain, driving the requirements for immediate real-time collaboration. COVID has increased the impact of a fragmented decision-making process with many functional experts and leadership roles not being able to gain physical access to local operations. All of this has created an environment where digital collaboration tools are critical to the supply chain, which we all rely on. COVID has created a hybrid workplace where the quality of information and how it's used is fundamental to global manufacturing production. Common technologies available to employees for collaboration have largely been limited to basic communication tools, which we're familiar with, such as email, chat and text messages. These tools are typically disconnected from actual information flows related to business process, and this results in a lot of back and forth status updates and complex handoffs that diminish employees' productivity. So how can you bring collaboration technology into a hybrid manufacturing environment? Essential is embedding the digital collaboration into process workflows to faster and better make decisions, improving KPIs, driving the bottom line value, and providing immediate impact. McKinsey have identified costs avoided in the manufacturing maintenance process and visibility into inventory levels as areas which could greatly benefit from effective digital collaboration. But it's not just product or process that can benefit organisations, but also people. For example, if we bring in R&D closer to the factory floor for input and ideas, which can reduce the time to incorporate feedback improvements as part of this process. Microsoft Surface Hub as an all-in-one device is a product which can be wheeled onto a factory floor with its own power, so remote experts can be brought into a production environment with high quality meeting room capability and light up collaboration immediately. And this then can be taken back into the boardroom. To better understand how collaboration can be used to reimagine a range of these business processes, Daniel Aycock, one of our senior collaboration specialists, will help us take a closer look on how the Surface Hub can be managed effectively and how to provide use cases in a hybrid environment for manufacturing. Over to you, Dan.
Manufacturing, by its nature, involves the collaboration and coordination of several different stakeholders whom are almost always remote. You are going to start with someone like a designer, and they're going to collaborate with other designers who probably aren't in the same location. They're going to communicate those ideas to a manufacturer, who a lot of the time will have different plants that manufacture different components, and then these components get assembled in a third place, and then the manufacturer then ships these off to the retailer, who will deliver them to the end user. So there's a huge area for communication and collaboration, and the Surface Hub fits really well into this environment. We've worked with several different manufacturing clients, so I'd like to show you a few demos that we've seen to help you sort of frame that conversation when you're talking to manufacturers about the Surface Hub. So a big part of it is, one, there's the mobility, and we'll show you why that's so good. Things like the roam stand, the battery that you can pair with it. Another part is just the ergonomics for design and the actual hardware, you know, things like the screen and the camera. And the third part is obviously the communication and the collaboration, which is the Surface Hub is expressly designed for. But let's get into it. The first thing I want to talk about is design. So there are a couple of things that make the Surface Hub a really great design machine. For starters, you've got a large screen. It's 50 inches, so you have plenty of screen real estate. It's a 4K screen, so the fidelity is quite high. It's a really nice image to see and stand in front of, and be able to design with that. Now, the pens that come with the Surface Hubs are very nice machines. They are programmed devices. They're not just plastic nibs. They are pressure sensitive. The technology is called inking, and you can see that if I vary the pressure of my hand, I'll actually get a different size line. The screen is specifically designed to be inked on with the pen, so there's a really nice matte finish and it feels like I'm actually inking onto the page, and the response is immediate, so it looks like I'm inking onto a page too. Now, I can, with the Surface Hub whiteboard, I can actually customize the background specifically for design. So if I hit format background, let's change it to a nice light blue shade because that's easy on the eyes. And then I want to have nice large grids. So if I'm designing something, I can make a legend and say, okay, each one of these grids equals 1 centimeter. And I can use that for my designs and stick to that scale. I can combine a custom formatted background with something like the ruler. Now the ruler gives me the exact angle that it's on, which means I can design quite precise and highly detailed things just by combining the custom background and the ruler. Now, once I've started my design, if I want to bounce off ideas of someone else, I can just invite them to the whiteboard. I can invite them to the whiteboard. I can jump on a Teams call with them at the same time so we can talk about our design and then and come up with a final idea. Now, if we want to translate what we're doing from the Surface Hub, we can translate it to something like AutoCAD or any of those other design programs, and they run really well on the Surface Hub. So we can pull up CAD designs, and you can see what the fidelity and the quality of like is on the screen. The fact that it's touchscreen as well allows me to interact with these 3D models and really get my point across and zoom in. And naturally, I can be on a call while I'm sharing the screen with someone else. There are several different applications that run really well on the Surface Hub. This is called CAD models. We've got Jet to Go as well, which is made by Siemens. And you can see how great something like this big rotary engine comes up, and we can interact with it. I can scale, we can select different components, we can highlight them as well. So you can go from designing something quite precisely. You can then communicate those ideas with manufacturers in a really precise way too, and I can collaborate with other designers who can add into the design, and we can work on it together just using the tools that come as standard with the Surface Hub. Now, if we move on to the next stage, let's say the actual manufacturing of the product, we can use something like this as well with the guys who are going to make it, so we can show them the design in depth while we're talking to them on a Teams call, and we can get their feedback about how easy or how difficult it's going to be to make. They can also jump on the whiteboard with us as well and give us those ideas and give us that feedback. Now, we've seen some clients utilize the fact that this camera is 4K, but it also relies on a USB-C connection. So I can get a USB-C extension cord, male to female. I plug one into the Surface Hub. We've got USB-C ingest points on all sides of the hub. They then use this camera and then move it around with different products to really try and sort of communicate what they're talking about to external clients, and they can get a really crisp image from this camera, and they can take it anywhere because they've got that USB-C extension ability. So you can pair the Surface Hubs with several different cameras, provided that they're Teams compliant, they work with Teams. And so you can basically wheel a Surface Hub into any sort of room that you're looking at, connected with that camera that's going to work with Teams, and then communicate whatever designs that you're having. Now, with this trend of mobility, another thing that we see a lot with manufacturing is using the Surface Hub, using Teams and the battery and the roam stand to basically fix faults on the floor of the factory. We've had several times, or several clients, or one client who's had several experiences of machinery breaking down on the factory floor. Now, instead of waiting maybe a couple of days for an engineer to be able to fly on site and have a look at the thing themselves, they can engage the engineer remotely via Teams and then just wheel the Surface Hub down to the floor of the factory, use the camera to really have a look at the fault, let the engineer see exactly what's going on, and then the engineer can then communicate to any on-site techs what sort of changes need to be made, how they can fix the machines. So there's a lot of ways where just the Surface Hub design itself, which is specific to visualizing ideas while we're talking about ideas at the same time, can be used in a manufacturing environment. So another thing that's really interesting that you can do with the Surface Hub is you can use the mapping function to talk about logistics, to plan for, say, outages. Or just where you want things sent. What happens if suddenly a country gets closed off, you can't get resources out there anymore? You can have a look on the map and you can naturally take a screenshot, throw it onto the whiteboard. Let's clip all of it. And then you can mark this up with any remote participants and talk about how we're going to plan for the future and what's going to happen. So if we pop that here and we say, okay, we are having troubles getting rare earth minerals out of India, so we're going to have to see if we've got any suppliers in Indonesia. Yeah, there are a couple of really interesting ways that you can use the maps, either just in a presentation or as part of a whiteboard that you can mark up. So yeah, there are some demos that we've seen. Different clients use the Surface Hub in the manufacturing industry. I hope you can use them. And yeah, I'll throw it back to you guys. Thanks.
With manufacturing operations distributed around the globe, Sharing information requires technology that breaks down barriers from language and geography through to the inclusion of locally held information to allow teams to communicate and actively collaborate in real time using data that is accessed and retained securely. The Microsoft Surface Hub 2S brings collaboration to every step of the supply chain, no matter where teams are located. External personnel connect to the central office seamlessly, communicating using video while simultaneously working on shared content. This information can then be reshared out to co-workers, irrespective of location, on either personal or group devices. Supply chain is where multiple organizations meet, often resulting in analog elements of the process flow. With Microsoft Whiteboard on Surface Hub 2S, this can easily be captured and included into a digital workflow, creating both a living document and audit trail. Participating in a multi-company meeting could not be easier. Using Microsoft Teams and Surface Hub 2S, communication is clear, seamless and instant, reducing costs associated with both time and travel. The Surface Hub 2S can be used to review designs and suggest changes, using content sourced directly from devices within the Microsoft Teams meeting or connected locally using Miracast. This allows information sourced from multiple devices and software platforms to be dynamically captured and collated to enable real-time efficiencies. Real-world, real interaction. Surface Hub 2S bridges the digital and physical divide in today's hybrid workplaces, further enhanced by the global availability of Microsoft Surface Hub 2S 85-inch in 2021.
Hi guys, Kalo from CollabTech here. Just wanted to talk a little bit now about the 85-inch Surface Hub. So the demonstrations Dan gave earlier, and most of the conversation up until this point was talking about the 55, but the 85-inch hub is arriving in APAC right now, and you can check with Microsoft or your local distributor on exact timings for that. So I just want to give you guys a chance to have a look at what that 85-inch hub will look like and the differences between the 85 and the benefits we can get from that compared to the initial Surface Hub release, which was the 55. So essentially, the 85-inch hub is going to provide us with more impact. If you can see the video we're sharing here now, panning across both great devices, you can see that there's a dramatic difference in size. There's a dramatic difference in workspace. Some of the examples that Daniel has given us today have been very specific about visualization, about how we want to move things around. The Surface Hub 85-inch is going to do that at the same high 4K resolution quality as the 55, but it's going to have a bigger impact. It's also going to give us more real estate so we can show multiple types of content. You can see in the demonstration now, we've actually got schematic or diagram, very common in manufacturing, and we've also got some sales or production data. We're able to visualize that at the same time. We can do that with people in the same room with us. We can do it remotely with people that are out in the field, and we can get a much bigger impact on this bigger working space. This is the biggest initial factor with the 85. Some other benefits of the 85 though, maybe not as visual straight away. One of those is that because it is a larger screen, a larger workspace, it's more viewable from further away. With our social distancing rules and the new normal we live in since the pandemic has begun, we do need to be aware of our spacing and distancing in all workspaces. That's a huge one, and the Surface Hub 85-inch allows that to happen. As you can see, Chris is observing a good protocol here, wearing a mask, but you can also see that the film crew is a certain distance away, maintaining that social distancing, and that's exactly what's going to happen with the Surface Hub. You're going to be able to keep that social distancing and be able to see the screen clearly. The Surface Hub 85-inch actually comes with 3 types of mounting. Currently, we've got it on its roam stand, which means it's movable. We can move it to the factory floor. We can move it to different office spaces. It's fantastic. It can also be wall mounted, which is an excellent option when you are going to use it in the conference room or in a specific meeting area. And the third option for mounting the Surface Hub 85-inch is to actually use the stand and legs and remove the back part of those legs to push it flush against the wall. This is in particular use in areas where the wall's not going to maintain the weight. It's a particularly heavy device, huge screen, as you can see. So some walls are not going to be able to handle that additional weight when you do secure it there. So that's the initial and I guess clear benefits of the 85. I did want to talk a little bit about how that fits into manufacturing specifically though. So we mentioned that we would have some benefits of the 85, displaying schematics, etc. Let's tie those back to Dan's exact examples. So Daniel showed us that there were a couple of key things, showing off some of those diagrams, communicating with people that are across multiple regions, etc. And one in particular that I've seen in use several times in manufacturing, which I think is really great, and that's extending the camera on the Surface Hub so you can actually display equipment that's being used in manufacturing, or even components that are being manufactured. It's a 4K camera. And you can see here, coming up on the video, that Chris is demonstrating the function of a manufacturing machine on that huge 85-inch screen very clearly. It's giving us a great view of what's happening, and it's allowing us to see what's going on in that machine. Using an extension cable, we can actually do that for people in multiple locations. So say we have an 85-inch hub on our manufacturing floor, and we've got an extended camera, so we're pointing at the machine that's being a camera extension cable, sorry, and we've got the camera pointing at a machine that's running in the engineering area. We're able to see it clearly on that massive screen in front of us, but we're also able to see it on the other screen that's in another location, again on that huge 85-inch scale. And as engineers that we have in both locations, we're able to see it clearly, see how it's functioning, see where the issues may be or where improvements might be found. We can do all of that simply and easily on that big real estate. I'd like to now open up the forum for any questions. So if anyone has any questions around the 85-inch hub, around Surface Hub and collaboration in general, around any of the functionality of those, please let us know. Throw those questions in the chat. Daniel and I will be happy to answer them as we go. And if it's anything even outside of that, like how do we set up Surface Hubs for being managed in our environments? How do we look after them technically from the cloud when we're in a dispersed working reality? Please just let us know. So while we wait for those questions to come in, just to let you guys know some of the key things: 4K camera, 4K screen, giving us the highest resolution popular. It's a modular and updatable device, so we are going to be able to remove drives, remove processors, update them, improve them, etc., along with the normal software updates and patches that we expect. It does have particularly sensitive microphones and speakers, so you are able to speak at a normal speaking volume even while maintaining social distancing, and you are able to use it in open areas like a shop floor or a manufacturing area. They also supports 20 points of touch, so you can have multiple engineers working on whiteboards together, manipulating images, manipulating schematics, etc. So that's kind of the core pieces around the Surface Hub and the 85-inch. While we wait for those questions to come in, were there any areas, Daniel, you wanted to bring up or highlight around Surface Hub in manufacturing?
Yeah, Kayla, I think you started with some really good suggestions. I think it would probably be good if we could get a quick spiel on how we can manage a fleet of Surface Hubs remotely, given how disparate all the stakeholders are in a manufacturing environment. And I think after that, it'd be good to talk about the 85s, how they actually get moved around. Because I know looking at them, you'd think you'd need to probably take out a wall to install one in your office. Yeah, did you want to cover that off?
Yeah, sure. So a couple of things there. First, in terms of that management piece, the Surface Hub is built as a cloud-first device. This is for the 85 and for the 55-inch, which means we can manage it from our Endpoint Manager admin system using Azure Active Directory Endpoint Manager and Intune. What that means really is that we're able to cloud manage these devices no matter where they are. There's a lot of pre-built tools and configuration profiles ready to roll for the Surface Hub. So once you've got it in and enrolled, which is a 5-minute process at most, you can manage a whole fleet of them simply by getting them into the right groups and pushing the correct configurations out, whether that's Wi-Fi, whether that's managing certificates, whether that's doing things like just changing the backgrounds or setting the meeting policies. It's all easy. It's all done via the cloud. You can do that, like I said, in a distributed workforce, no matter where those Surface Hubs are. Now, in terms of maneuverability, Surface Hub is a big device. Surface Hub 55 will generally fit a normal elevator. The 85 may not. Microsoft have thought of this though. When you initially receive the device, it actually has a couple of great little features. One, it does come on a rolling stand. But two, it has an additional set of wheels allowing you to rotate it vertically, meaning you can get it on board most elevators. So you're able to move it around on the standard rolling stand once it's set up. You're able to move it around on the initial stand it comes in to get it set up, but you're also able to rotate it vertically on that initial stand to get it into some trickier places. I know with Service Hub 1, we had a few issues getting it into some areas. I'm sure some of you experienced that as well, but they've thought of that and made it a lot easier on this new version. So no questions coming in as yet. Dan, was there anything else you wanted to quickly cover off? Or?
Yeah, I think it would be cool if we could hear from Microsoft about market availability, because we have had so many clients asking where and when they can get their hands on an 85. Mel, do you reckon you could cast some light on that?
Look, it is currently available in certain markets. My response to this one is just have a chat to your local Surface Hub distributor and they will be able to advise when it's available. But it is being rolled out in certain markets at the moment, with more to keep coming.
Great, thanks, Mel. So look, guys, we may keep it with Mel for now. We haven't had any additional questions come in, so thanks a lot for your time. If anything pops up in the next couple of minutes, please do feel free to throw it in the Q&A. Happy to answer anything. Otherwise, yeah, we'll hand back to Mel to wrap up and let us know about the next couple of sessions around Hub in a Hybrid World and the different verticals we're going to take a look at.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kaylo. So thank you, Kaylo, Daniel and Andrew and the rest of the Collab Tech team for presenting today and taking us through how Microsoft Surface Hub can play a part in the hybrid world of today. So if you want to find out more, just not just on availability of Surface Hub, but details, information, just please reach out to your local Surface Hub distributor and they can definitely give you an update. We do have 2 more upcoming sessions. We've got banking on collaboration, which is specifically on financial services. And then following that, the week after, it's all about public sector and how do we look at Surface Hub in that area. So if there are no more questions, but feel free to pop any in the box even once this call is finished. But yeah, thank you very much for joining our call today and we look forward to seeing you on the next 2.